Hey guys, it's Lori. So this is part two of the story about the guy that I dated, that turned out to be a murderer. And I'm not going to focus on him this time. If you didn't hear the story, go back to part one. But I want to focus on how our soul wounds, how our upbringing, how things can manifest themselves through our lives. And who knows? Maybe like this guy, Sam was. Maybe he was born that way. I don't know. I didn't know him that way, but that doesn't mean he wasn't that way. Um, First of all, it just leads me to think about we need to be more careful when we choose our partners who we're going to have children with. Honest to God. I know we don't think about it. I'm guilty. Um, Especially when you're young. Um, you don't think. It sounds funny coming from an energy worker that for me to say this, but I'm going to say it. We can't always be just in the moment. We do have to have a bit of future thinking, mindset, a bit of the past too, even though they don't exist at this present time. How much could have changed if I would have only thought about it? I mean, when I had my children, and I'm grateful for my children mean the world to me. I was thinking in the moment. They were little kids. I was thinking about their day-to-day needs. I was enjoying them as little kids. I was married to their dad, and he is very narcissistic and arrogant and controlling and really fed that soul wound, kept it going because I felt very small around him. He didn't have to say or do anything. Well, he didn't have to say anything. It was like the energy. We draw people to ourselves that will validate the soul wound. And then what his actions and his choices were directed against me, but he used the kids to manipulate. And if for me to tell the whole story, would take all day, or maybe not all day, but a couple hours. But his hatred for me was so strong that he fought me. He basically, 4 years it took me to fight because, again, I didn't have money. So I married this man who, at the time that we got together, was living in a basement. I had good credit. I was poor, but I had good credit, and I was on my own taking care of my oldest son. He was just had, gone through a bankruptcy, foreclosure. He was living in a basement. He was a heavy drinker, and I still thought he was better than me. I still felt like I wasn't worthy, and I don't think he did it on purpose, but energetically, he certainly played into that. And then he, it wasn't even the divorce. I mean, like, yeah, okay, so he left me for another woman, blah, 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 whatever. I made mistakes, he made mistakes. That's totally forgivable, done over ancient history, whatever. But what he did to my kids lives on. And it has now cycled through to the next generation. So, what about Sam? We grew up in, like I said, we grew up in the hood. And the reason I'm being quiet is because right now I'm waiting for my son to get out of an appointment. So, we grew up in the hood. I mean, like I said, I'm in New Hampshire, so it's not like the hood like in California or the big city or whatever, but it was pretty bad. We were all poor. I came from an abused family. I don't know that, I won't say everybody did, but we were like street rats. That's what we did. We hung out on the street, whatever. Is that part of what played into Sam's future violence? I know another thing is alcohol. Um, some people drink too much. Some people socially drink. Some people are true blue. Some people are alcoholics, but they're gentle. They hurt no one but themselves. Some people are raging alcoholics. They black out. They have, um, they see things. It's kind of like a schizophrenic, right? Like they do. They have, they see things. They hear things. They have hallucinations, auditory and visual. And they do think they black out drunk and they become like a monster. I knew someone like that once. I didn't even know that existed from alcohol until I met him, and then I studied it a little bit. And because I've been, like I said before in the last video, every man I've ever loved is an alcoholic. So I'm no stranger to addiction. Um, Alcohol actually has physiological effects on a person. Not to everybody, but certain people. I mean, it destroys your body. It destroys your brain. And I believe that, along with other drugs, bring out, like, sometimes even spiritual beings, right? I don't know. I know that this other person that I knew, he absolutely could have killed somebody and had no memory of it. I've been hurt so bad I was hit by a drunk driver. I was in a 8-car pileup, because we got hit head on and then got hit from behind over and over and over again. So it turned out to be 8 cars. I always said 7 cars, but it's like we got hit 7 times. But we also had the initial head-on collision. And I don't know if you can see it. I've had reconstructive surgery on my face, but I mean, he could have killed me. That was November 26th, 1986. So alcohol and me have never really gotten along, Alcoholics, I don't know, I'm not blaming the alcohol. I'm not. It's definitely a disease because it's progressive and it kills you ultimately. It's different than some diseases because, that first drink, that next drink, whatever, that's initially a choice, right? But your body does grow to need the alcohol or, other substances, whatever. I'm not going to get into the debate about addiction. But it's a dangerous drug, and it's perfectly legal, and you can get it at every corner. Here in New Hampshire, you don't have to go to, like, the Packy, like in Mass, but we have liquor stores at every exit, and they're making more. And you can get it. You can get, like, beer and wine in the grocery store or the gas station or whatever. The hard liquor, you have to go to the state liquor store. So it's available, readily available everywhere. And it kills people, and it changes people. It either kills you slowly, it destroys families. Anyhow, so I'm going back to, we were in the hood, people were drinking and drugging, whatever. We were street rats, sex when you shouldn't have sex. I mean, so, back to the alcohol for a second, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, but alcohol and drugs or sex or whatever, I don't think anybody wakes up one day or as a little kid says, geez, I want to be promiscuous when I get older. Or, geez, I want to drink too much and hurt everybody around me. Or I want to do drugs and destroy my life. Nobody does that. Why do people start using drugs or drinking to excess before the alcoholism kicks in? Why do people have sex? Why are people promiscuous sexually? It all comes down to they're trying to ease the pain. They're self-medicating. And then it turns into another problem, right? It becomes the monster. Nobody wants to be an addict. Nobody wants to be an alcoholic. Nobody wants to be. Even people are addicted to sex, porn, gambling, whatever, just about everything. Food, right? But nobody says to the diabetic, it's your fault you've got diabetes, I mean, people do make fun of heavyset people, I know, but you don't have to be heavyset to have diabetes. I have a really good friend who's diabetic, and diabetes has kicked his ass, and he's thin, he's in good shape physically. I mean, as far as weight and stuff, it's kicked his ass. It's took his eyesight. It's taken his ability to perform, taken his feet, his everything. He's had open heart surgery. And when it first started, he was a relatively young man. I don't think he found out he was diabetic until, I think he was like 40. I know I'm rambling. But, okay, so first of all, if you haven't had children yet, consider who your partner is, because narcissists, self-centered people, parenting is a selfless act, right? So if somebody's really selfish and they're willing to hurt their children, and you created a child with that person, you're taking a risk, right? My oldest son's father was never in the picture after we broke up, and many people said, "Oh, that's too bad. Fight him for child support, this and that." I didn't, and the reason I didn't is because it was better for him. It was better for all of us if it was just me and him, right? My oldest son doesn't have the same issues that my younger kids have, because he didn't have a narcissistic jerk ripping him apart. And the legal system will help a narcissist, because a narcissist has a way of putting on the charm and acting like they're, great. And society and family court will go along with the narcissist, because what makes the world go around is money and credit. When we first got together, I was the one with the credit. I didn't have money. I never had money. He was very talented, an extremely talented carpenter. But it's not like I didn't have any gifts or talents either, right? I helped him. Together, we built a really strong business. I didn't do any physical labor. He did that. But we worked together, whether it was me taking care of the kid, whatever it was. But he crushed me, and then he ripped my children apart. My little one, now he's a man, but he used to pray for death for himself or for his dad. He used to beg me. And I finally got an apology from the court system. I got an apology from the JPO. Never got an apology from that woman at the head level of social services, but I don't think she works there anymore, because they would lie to my child, both of them. Finally, Bobby ran away so much that they finally gave up on him, so he ended up being able to stay with me, but Nick was too young to do that. And it destroyed his psyche. It destroyed his psyche. And why? Because Bob had more money than me. It all comes down to money. People look at people without money as scum. How about the guy that's cheating on his wife? How about the woman that is stealing money from her boss? How about the people that are lying, cheating, stealing, drunk driving, whatever, all these different things that they couldn't care two craps about people around them, but yet they come off, even if they don't have money, but they have, they come off, they dress nice, they have a good job, they're, whatever, and they're ripping people off left and right, but yet society will say, oh yeah, they're the better person. What about the person who destroys a child behind closed doors by saying, no, you can't see dad and mom, because dad and mom are scumbags, and you're, oh boy, poor you, that's your dad. Oh no, you can't see your grandmother, this and that. But yet the court says that she's the better option. And the cycle will continue. So we better start, especially when children are involved, we better start standing up for our rights. Like I said, it took 4 years with my kids. For my youngest, because like I said, Bobby kept running away, and finally they gave up on him because he kept running to my house. The cops pick him up, he'd come right back, and the cycle continued. I was accused of things I would never think of doing in court. And the things, I'm no angel, I'm not perfect, but the things I was accused of were disgusting. And in family court, you are guilty, and even if you can prove yourself innocent, doesn't matter. How dare I fight them? Why don't I just let Bob have what he wants? Excuse me for using real names. You're a scumbag. You don't have any money. You know what? That's another thing. The whole welfare mentality. I've never had the welfare mentality. I don't want welfare, okay? Social Security, disability, yeah, I would take it. I've been self-employed for so many years, I don't even know what I qualify for. I don't need the government knowing my business. The government destroyed my family. And yeah, this video got a little more personal than I wanted it to, but the government, social services, family court, destroyed my family. We made it out, and we're still very close. I told my ex-husband many, many years ago, I said, you gotta love the kids more than you hate me. And this family court and you can try their hardest to destroy us and to separate us, We love each other and we'll always love each other. You can't take that away. And they didn't. We still love each other. But now, the authorities are still trying to destroy my family. I believe that negative entities work through these agencies, work through the narcissist that initially gets the ball rolling. And it's about time that people stand up and demand, you know what, like I said, I stood up, because I'd do anything for my kids. I didn't stop fighting for the courts. I didn't let them put me down, but it took 4 years. Yeah, I got an apology, big deal. Still messed up my kids. And we're dealing with that today. Their father's an alcoholic, and now they've got addiction issues, and the cycle continues.